Woo-wee, Jake!
Oh my God!
Yo, what's good today? How are you doing, my guy?
You're gonna scare people, man. What is up,
Now
everybody?
you know how I feel literally every week in this room, hearing your psychotic
Dude,
screams.
Whoa, wee! Hello, all you audio listeners, all you YouTube listeners. Welcome back, as per usual, to the Esports Rewind podcast. Hello, Zan.
Hi, Jake. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Life is good. Busy as heck as always, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, we got a lot of good things on the heads up for all of you guys. A lot of big things coming. We appreciate all of you guys listening each and every week. You got any announcements before we get into it?
Real quick, don't forget you can find us on iTunes as well as Spotify. From the Prediction Esports Talk Show Network, download an episode. It really does actually help us out. It helps support the channel over there. Shout out to our audio listeners. Jake, you want to just hop into it?
Yeah, we got a lot of great topics for you guys. Let's get into them. And my first one out there this week, Zan's going to be a very quick one, okay? Because I know that a lot of figures out there are very polarizing, as some would say. This is about my boy Ninja this past week being an absolute gamer bro.
Shout out to Good Guy Ninja.
You need to realize when Good Guy Ninja's around, I'm going to give him compliments. Yes, he definitely has his takes here and there.
Polarizing was a good way to put it.
Thank you. Definitely not the first person to call him polarizing.
Oh, ain't that the truth.
But with this past week, a couple W's, probably a future video as well about a great month for a guy like Ninja. The story I want to talk about is actually involving Mr. Beast and his creator games, which, by the way, broke 1 million concurrent viewers.
Congrats to Mr. Beast.
On YouTube, one of very few to do it on the platform. It was Ninja actually backing out of that 300K trivia event just so he and his boys could compete in a Valorant tournament for the, I think it was actually the Renegades Invitational, which I think is like the biggest gamer bro moment. And I don't know, I kind of geeked out. I was like, that's just dope.
No, yeah, you love to see it. You love to see like the clear level of dedication to like playing the game. And to be fair, I gotta address the other side here. Yes, Ninja already has money, so he's probably not aggressively concerned about the prize pool.
You're gonna see those comments like, he doesn't need the money. That's why 10K tournament compared to 300K tournament doesn't matter.
Right, but at the same time,
like, you got to realize this is a roster heavy underdogs, right? A lot of people out there do not believe Ninja will ever be at the top level, the tier 1 scene again. They are obviously trying to compete with the likes of those guys, and as underdogs actually performed decently during the event as well. And with that, there's some speculation out there. I cannot confirm this to you guys, just wild speculation as to why maybe another reason he couldn't go on YouTube for the creator games, that involving his partnership with Twitch.
Very possible.
But also not confirmed. I just wanted to bring it up either way. But very lastly as well, I know you saw this on top of that. Speaking of Twitch streamers, it was also Ninja this past week paying out, I believe, Average Jonas, a Twitch streamer who had nearly $6,000 refunded in donations. Been a widespread issue for a lot of streamers. Ninja just responded, fixed, and sent the guy $6,000 to pay for those refunded donations.
Yeah, which is, shout out to Ninja, just being like a lad, really going out there and just supporting the community like that.
But again, he has money, so people are like, I don't know. It's just, whether or not a guy has money, if he does a good deed, I think we're going to notice it. Especially
something like that. Just like standing up, doing something that Twitch themselves is definitely not going to do. Twitch will never support a streamer like that.
Yeah.
But, it's nice to see that a high-profile creator on the platform who has definitely been given the bag by other platforms is, giving back like that.
Yeah, and going out of his way to do so. Guys, we have talked about Ninja's not-so-bright moments, and so we will talk about the bright moments as well. Good Guy Ninja, Gamer Bro Ninja this past week. It was great to see.
Speaking of controversial things that probably shouldn't be controversial, let's talk about AOC real quick. Because she did something insane this week with her Among Us stream featuring Pokimane, Asana B, Lupo,
Myth,
H-Bomber Guy, Myth,
Moist, the
Toast.
boys.
Yeah, such a star-studded lineup right there, but it was incredible. She fit in so well. This was very clearly not just her trying to make some political stunt. This is her really engaging with the community, really being there to play the game. A lot of fantastic moments, from her self-reporting immediately to her killing Pokimane and the Pokimane bowing down. Fun conversation.
Everyone geeking out over AOC this past week, and it was great to see a semi-record set. I think a top 5 all-time individual Twitch stream.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think we know exactly where it sits in the top 5.
Yeah, it's tough to know the exact numbers.
Yeah, but she personally, I saw her at 439,000 concurrent viewers,
and that's just her. To think about the entire lobby breaking likely 1 million concurrent, which again in. Congratulations. It was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, several millions of views on the VODs over the past couple days. And I think this is going to be a huge sea change for the streaming industry. I think this is going to open a lot of eyes to like how much reach streaming really has, and hopefully open some doors for streamers to be, more recognized as a legitimate industry.
Yeah, and I think it was definitely a good look for a lot of those streamers. That group was definitely selectively placed for,
Absolutely.
for good reasons. I will say this. I was tweeting during the entire thing. I wanted to see Ninja or XQC. My favorite. I'm a yeller, okay? So I love watching yellers in Among Us. I would have loved to see X or Ninja just drop in there and make it a bit heated. Obviously, that group a bit more reserved, a bit more respectful, and so chosen for obvious reasons. But it does leave the door wide open for future streams. And who's to say? I don't know if Trump's going to do this, but other politicians come in and they do get Ninja or XQC and want to play Among Us. And we see this yet again, which brings in new eyes, brings in new faces. So at the end of the day, yes, it was to get the vote out, which a lot of gaming influencers have done. I'm talking a lot about Ninja today. Ninja has done it recently. 100 Thieves have done it recently. Movements to get the vote out is great, but it's also great for the future of gaming for a lot of the haters out there who are a bit disturbed by this lobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's be real here. You can separate the political aspects 100%. That's completely in its own corner.
I know I can.
Yeah, you can just appreciate this was a legitimately entertaining stream in a lot of ways, and I hope we see more stuff of this caliber in the future. I know Hikaru of TSM, the chess grandmaster, reached out to Obama asking if he'd be down to play a chess match on stream, which, hey, that could be pretty fun.
I mean, it's great for us, easy content.
Yeah,
so,
ain't that the truth?
And again, fresh eyes, new faces. I really can't complain about that. Very lastly, Dr. Lupo, was one of the many that was criticized for playing with politicians who, he sees as friends. He had now a viral clip where he just kind of shames the sub who even involved his kids for bashing Dr. Lupo. It's great to see these fight backs and these responses. At the end of the day, it's a bigger move for gaming. So as long as we can do it correctly and split up politics from the streaming side of things, it's been enjoyable to see, and we'll see who joins next. And a pretty crazy story this past week involving Apex Legends, a scene we definitely do not talk about too much.
What scene?
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, it was great talking about this segment. Unfortunately, so the esports side of Apex definitely has had its fall off, much like I would say a game like Overwatch, but the main games are still fairly popular. And a lot of drama and controversy this past week as NRG streamer known as Lulu was under fire because she actually ended up getting not just one, but 2 people banned, and people were upset about it. This being the classic Reddit misleading post, which goes viral.
You love to see it.
And thus Reddit army decides to send death threats to said female streamer because she female.
Because that's the only option, clearly. I mean, clearly, I'm being highly sarcastic here, just in case it wasn't aggressively clear. Clearly, sending death threats is the only response any rational human being can give here. Because just actually looking at the situation and thinking, maybe there's actually a good reason behind this. Not possible.
Just look, I mean, even if the situation on Reddit that was misleading was true, we've seen this with a lot of esports pros out there, especially people who bet on these games. They send death threats to all of these pros. Never approved of it. Just like in that situation, I can't imagine reading a Reddit post and thinking, I want to threaten to kill her, dude. Like this is going to solve all my internal issues.
And not only that, this is going to solve the problem I'm mad about at this exact second.
This is going to help that Reddit user.
This is going to get him unbanned. My death threat can change the world.
Either way, obviously, jokes aside, a lot of people had their reasons for this. Now, if you guys do want to know a quick TLDR of the situation, pretty much Lulu accused a Gibraltar of hacking. She sent in the evidence that Gibraltar was then actually banned. The dev, or the person known as Hideout, who was issuing the bans, looked into the Gibraltar's teammates. The Bloodhound was apparently also found with a sketchy history of ban evasion, having several accounts tied to him also banned, and then partying with the cheater, so he too was also banned, even leading Apex Legends on their main account to tweet out saying, "We uphold the ban," and people were still pissed at Lulu because she didn't get just one person banned, she got 2 people banned.
Let's also make it very clear that it's not like Lulu went through some secret hidden back channel to report this guy.
But people think she did.
Yeah, Apex Legends devs have a Discord channel that anybody can come in and share proof of hackers, causing problems in the game. Something I wish more games had.
Yes.
Because hackers are such a big issue.
And I actually love the fact that Apex Legends tweeted out about this.
It was quickly, too.
It was that big of an issue. It went viral on Reddit and viral on Twitter, and they actually responded. If this was Twitch, they're not saying a thing.
Oh, absolutely not. Maybe we'll hear something like 3 years from now in an internal memo, and that's it.
I should clarify. Even if it was like CSGO, right? They're not known for tweeting. A lot of games out there would not be this transparent. So it was an entirely sucky situation, but a great response by a lot of people out there. So hopefully a few more people have a bit of a better understanding as to how we saw it. And that person has now actually changed their original Reddit post to say sorry for all the people who sent death threats, and they still want their account back. So we will see if Apex Legends responds on that in the future.
All right, Jake. This is kind of almost a follow-up to a story we discussed a couple weeks back. Is we saw Schalke supporting one of their players and his decision not supporting one of their FIFA players who decided not to contribute to the pay-to-win economy in FIFA 21 because the problem there is that in order to compete at the professional level, you actually have to pay the microtransaction fee to get the top level players in the game, and it's a bit of an issue. And now we see EA, the company that makes NHL, Madden, FIFA, kings of the sports gaming world, under fire due to a new class action lawsuit in Canada, alleging that these very same loot boxes in Ultimate Team are actually illegal gambling.
And I want to give you credit because this is not just a stretch back to a few weeks. This is a stretch back to months ago when you first talked about this on this very podcast. I am sure there are very few people listening now that listened back then. You called out EA a long time ago. Not the first lawsuit they're undergoing. This one specifically based in Canada, correct?
Yes, it's based in Canada specifically against NHL, the hockey game, and Madden.
Yes. Oh, so not FIFA this time around?
Not FIFA, but it is specifically targeting the Ultimate Team system, which is the thing that holds the gambling in it. And the same Ultimate Team system exists in NHL, Madden, and FIFA, just with different characters.
And from what very little I had seen, apparently this lawsuit could be accusing up to 60 titles, stretching back to 2008. So
yeah. Because EA has been doing this-ish for a good minute.
EA has been in the sports game for a bit.
Yeah.
Esports. You guys know what I mean.
And for years, they've been getting called out by various governments for this exact issue. They had recently spoken to, I believe it was our Congress in the U.S. about this problem back in 2019. That's where the surprise mechanics, the surprise loot boxes controversy came from back in the day. That was a joy. Just in the past few months, they've been called out by the UK government alongside Belgium and the Netherlands, I believe. Also, on the same side of, hey, these loot boxes you have are pretty darn close to gambling, and it really is a problem that you're inundating this system, especially with the younger audience. Yeah,
and especially in this case, it goes even a bit further than gambling, as a game like CSGO might be seen as, because you are almost, as you said, to be a pro in these esports, like a FIFA, like a Madden, you're almost incentivized to pay because they give you such progressive, things inside the game. That's where the issue lies. The more you spend, the better you are. That's how it kind of differs from other games out there where it's strictly cosmetic. It's a bit different when it comes to the EA model, or so that's how a lot of people see it.
Well, I mean, it's factually true.
I mean, especially when you have a FIFA Pro coming out, and it's actually it's a freaking news headline where he's like, "I'm not going to spend any money this year."
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And the team actually has a dedicated budget for that year over year. I believe the budget Schalke had was like $2,400 or something like that. Yeah, that's hefty. That's on top of buying the $60 game.
When you have to actually make up your team's salary and then give a stipend to spend in game.
Yeah, just on microtransactions.
You know that it's not a fair esport or a fair game to partake in. It's just it's wild to look at.
Yeah, and I think there's a clear reason here why EA has stuck with these practices for so long, where we've seen like Call of Duty dip their toes in briefly, then backed away real quick when they realized, hey, it's not okay to have microtransactions that directly affect your performance in the game. Not cool. It's cosmetic only. But on the EA end, I want you to take a quick guess how much Ultimate Team made for EA in this past year.
In the past year?
Ultimate Team across NHL, Madden, and FIFA.
I don't even want to ruin anything, but Ultimate Team across several titles?
Yeah.
I'll say, does it start with a B?
It does start with a B.
Give me the number.
Okay. The number is for fiscal year 2019, $1.37 billion.
Across a few of those franchises or titles?
In just a single year. And each year is $1 billion. Fiscal year 2020 is looking like $1.49 billion. So that's a lot of money. It's working.
It's not like I can sit back here and blame EA because they haven't had to lose a lawsuit yet. They haven't had to really face up to it. The giant lingering question is, do you guys think it's wrong, and will they lose? Will they lose, and then will they lose enough to stop the practice?
I think they absolutely will. There's a good reason every other game company is backing very far away from this practice because they can see where the tides are changing.
Without any knowledge, I will go the opposite of you, and I think EA is going to stay just fine. And whether or not they do lose, they will keep up these practices. That's just because you have to change your entire franchise.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely do. You have to start making good games.
Which I just don't know if they can exist without that kind of progressive model. Like, love it or hate it, that's what makes the game entertaining for so many people out there.
Yeah, but there's ways to do it without the aggressive gambling components being like, and the thing is here, people aren't saying get rid of Ultimate Team altogether, right? The thing is, get rid of the gambling, the problematic, the problems here that have very direct consequences to real people. Let's tone those down. There's ways to still have that system in the game without, really making money hand over fist.
Yeah, and I guess we'll find out. This is going to take some time.
Oh, absolutely.
But if it does come to fruition, we'll keep on talking about it. EA Games under another lawsuit. Can that lawsuit take down the Titan? That's the mystery. And you knew it's coming, man. Our combo topic for this week, It's a heavy hitter. And yes, certainly a controversial statement out there, which some people are backing, some very few people. So always interested in both sides to hear.
Of course.
But that being a supposed creative director for Google Stadia, apparently not so much, according to Jason Schreier. You guys know who I'm talking about, Mr. Alex Hutchinson, a.k.a. Bang Bang Click.
A.k.a. bad take guy.
Okay, yeah, that's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
But he just won that round for us.
Yeah, true.
Either way, his main statement being that he does believe that streamers should be paying to stream the games they play.
Interesting statement right there, especially in, current times.
Yes, very much so.
I think one of the issues that people, really honed in on here is how do you get to a point in the game industry where you have a position as a creative director without being aware of how the industry works right now, where game devs go out there and they pay streamers to promote their games because streams directly contribute to the sales of a title.
Yes, exactly so. That was probably the main combated point out there because we saw tons of streamers disagree with this take. We saw tons of quotes of that same tweet, and the main combated point being, okay, there is currently a model in the gaming scene which obviously is trying to is actually incentivized to actually go pay these streamers. Not only are these streamers playing your game, but you are paying them, not vice versa, because that is apparently what works. Speak of the devil, we talked about it earlier this podcast. EA Games is notoriously known for shoveling out cash. We've had Ninja record-breaking weekends potentially being paid $1 million to play Apex Legends. FIFA, I shouldn't say FIFA, but Tfue, but apparently had a Madden deal fall through, but was going to be set for $150,000. There's an obvious reason that model does exist, where, yes, some devs and some games see the sheer value of a streamer playing their game and promoting it to their entire audience.
100%. We can point to a super recent example in Among Us. The entire reason that game has gained so much popularity in the recent months is because of streaming. Because Among Us has been out for, what is it, like a
couple
year or
years
two
now?
Yeah. And it was doing horribly. A lot of people said it was an objective failure at launch just because it didn't make the sales numbers. But now it's one of the biggest games in the world. So I think we can definitely say there's a clear benefit here for developers. One of the counterpoints I have seen is that for some games out there, some more story-based games that don't really have unique experiences to them, that, sure, if you watch through the whole game on a stream, maybe people aren't going to go watch a purely story-focused game. They're not going to go and buy it themselves, perhaps. But those games are still few and far between at this stage, and I would argue that doesn't take into account games like Spider-Man or God of War, which I would argue are very story-heavy games. But the gameplay is a crucial thing here that people see and they want to experience it for themselves.
Yeah, and another part I did actually see, and I think some people are slowly making videos on, is the overarching, maybe the angle he was trying to go for, and that's, is it actually legal for some of these companies and games to copyright that material? Because this all came in the wake of DMCAs for music, and he was actually talking about Twitch streamers should not only fear the DMCAs of music, but potentially the DMCA version of what could be, copyrighting their gameplay that they're playing on streams. Could devs and companies legally do that?
We've seen devs do this in the past because some of them can. Some devs actually have clauses in their end user license agreement that very specifically says, hey, you can stream our game totally fine. go for it, right? But some other devs out there, like Nintendo, for example, they have maintained a lot of the rights for their games. They actually tried to DMCA a lot of creators back in the day, I believe like 2013, 2014 era, that caused a lot of problems for content creators on YouTube. More recently, the devs behind Persona 5 did the same thing with Twitch streamers. They didn't allow anybody to stream the game at all outside of the first couple hours. And what we saw was huge backlash. The game not selling as much as it perhaps could have, and I think devs clearly recognize the benefits here.
Yeah, and again, I wanted to try and see what his argument could have been. Once I went down the rabbit hole of his replies is where he really lost me. We'll end on this. I actually saw a tweet where he was saying that streamers should try streaming, without games and see what happens. Even further, the point that I saw was he was saying that streamers should give additionally part of their revenue to that game as well, which... Again, I don't know if he's seeing some kind of weird future thing that could be the way to go, but it seems in this current climate just a really, really brash take, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And with that argument that he was making, I think another point that Schreier himself brought up was that you can't really expect if, let's say, a Lupo streams a game, right, and he gives like 10% of the revenue back to the game developer. None of that money is going to go directly to the developers who worked on the game. It's going to go to the executives, to the company. And so if you're trying to make the argument that the game developers should get the money, I don't think the streamers are the place to start.
And then plus, if you want to really dive down the rabbit hole, all of a sudden Dr. Lupo and Nick Merckx are playing the same game for the same amount of time. Let's say they each have to give a percentage of that revenue.
Right.
Who's to say who should actually pay what percentage? All of a sudden Nick Merckx is paying 10 times what Dr. Lupo is, and getting, again, there's just so many stringents as to how that would possibly work.
Right, especially when you take into account like smaller streamers. Is a smaller streamer who's only like streaming to a couple hundred people, are they going to be paying the same fees as a Lupo or a Courage? I mean, none of this makes any sense for how the whole streaming economy works.
Yeah, either way, we saw a lot of people freak out. I would say by far majority of people disagree with his take. I think we ran a poll here on the channel, around 18,000 votes, which said that they don't believe that streamers should have to pay to play the games they do. And I think a majority of devs and games actually agree with that currently. Will it change in the future? Will we all be proven wrong by Bang Bang Click? It could be a far-fetched possibility.
Doubtful.
But we will see. And as per usual, we hope you guys all enjoy the Esports Rewind podcast. Same time, same day, every single week. We break down the crazy stories, and we greatly appreciate all of you guys who do listen. Zane, you want to hit him with that outro?
All right, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find the Esports Rewind podcast on the go, on your mobile phone, on iTunes, Spotify, your podcast platform of choice, as part of the Prediction Esports Talk Show Network. Just type in PREEDICTION, and we're right there alongside a bunch of other fantastic esports and gaming podcasts. So by all means, go check it out. It does really help support the channel a lot. Shout out to our audio listeners. We do appreciate you tuning in. If you'd like some more daily esports news content, you can find us on YouTube at Esports Talk. And anytime, if anybody ever wants to reach out, say hello, send a story, a kind word, anything at all, we do read every single message we receive. You can find us on Twitter, DMs open, at talk_esports, Instagram at esports_talk. And you know what? If you'd like to see some of the news that we don't get the chance to cover on the channel, like we talk about Apex Legends a lot on the website, for example, you can find us at esportstalk.com. So by all means, slide through and check us out.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week, gamers. Take care of yourselves.
Cheers.
Shoot. Bless you.